Hello, my name is Ilse, and this is my weight loss journey. I started my journey about 3 weeks ago, weighing in at 325.7. The last 3 weeks, having pretty hard. I did my update this past Monday at 312.2 or 312.5, sorry. Um, I find it really hard the last week or so. It was like my mom's birthday and my daughter's birthday. And then I was working a bunch of doubles and night shifts. So it's hard to manage to like keep myself focused. Like I didn't really pig out or ate like candies or donuts or anything like that. But I do find myself drinking a lot more coffee, and like usually my coffees like I buy at Tim Hortons or something, and I don't know really how many calories there are in there. Um, so I don't know if that's like a setback or I just need to like try to stay away from that. Like teas and stuff like that, like tea lattes. Uh, it's hard to know, like, unless of course I look at it, like what calories are in there, and it doesn't feel like I'm eating that much, but probably what's worse is I'm drinking my calories. Um, Exercise wise, I started exercising a little bit more, and it's kind of depressing because I've always like before I got this big, I will always like go into the treadmill and ride for a while, and like I wouldn't find myself as exhausted as now being such a heavyweight. It's like a lot harder to exercise. Um, it's I, I I'm an emotional eater, and I find that trying to date or usually it's like a trigger for me to like overeat. The last week or so, I had to distance myself from somebody that was toxic in my environment. Um, it's it's hard because it's like I don't feel like I'm worthy of dating anybody, so I let people treat me like shit, and I take it up on me by like being super hungry or wanting to eat more, and that's when I will buy like like the extra coffee or French vanilla, and like I try to control myself, but that's where I lose control, and it's shameful. So I decided to try to keep my emotional or my dating aside till I actually learn to love myself first. I've always put men before me, and this is pretty much how I like sabotage myself. I do have a daughter, and she means the world to me, and that's what I want to focus on, my health, so I can be there for my daughter. Um, I've struggled with like pregnancy issues before. That's where actually all my weight like started like getting out of control. At the beginning, I was pregnant with a son, and I suffer for what is called incompetent cervix. So around month five, I didn't go into labor, but my cervix gave up, and as a result, my son was born, and he died a few minutes after being born, due to like prematurity. After he passed away, I became obsessed with trying to have a child, and I don't know if it was like trying to cope with that feeling of loss, and just sad. I was just really really sad, and I stayed with someone that didn't appreciate me, and mostly was because I felt like if I lost him, then I will lose any chance of having kids with him, and then I would not be able to get my son back. I actually got pregnant again with him with twins. And if you know a little bit about incompetent cervix, twins and that medical condition are do not go well, and actually made it worse. I had what it's called a circle lash, and it was inserted through my vagina, but that didn't hold for the weight of the twins, so I ended up in the hospital. I spent about maybe 3 to 4 months in there. Like after the 3 month they passed, and then it was like almost a month of recovery since I almost died. I went into what they call aseptic mode. So my body just started to shut down. I had a really bad infection in my uterus, and it was going through my blood, so it was getting pretty dangerous. After my twins passed away, same thing again. My depression got worse. I lost in touch with a lot of people. Like, I didn't hang out with anybody. I just kind of like went to work, and I worked like crazy. And I stayed with the same person that didn't really see me as a person. He will like have his own friends and not actually ever mention me to them at all, or his family. I dated this person for about 8 years, and at the end of the day, he married someone else that he met through online and through what they will call arranged marriage. And he didn't even bother to tell me that. After that happened, I decided to take control of my life, and I lost quite a bit of weight. In the meantime, I met my daughter's father, and I got pregnant with him, and I had by then done a lot of research and found a doctor if I ever wanted to have another kid. I didn't want to have kids with this specific person, mostly because we were just starting to get to know each other, and it was something he didn't really want. But it happened, and I wanted to keep my baby, so I went to visit the doctor in Vancouver, and he did what it's called a transabdominal cerclage. So it's done through my abdomen rather than my vagina. So my cervix is no longer a factor. My daughter actually made it. I made it to 37 weeks, which is really great. She was born really healthy. I, however, had to do 7 months of bed rest, and after she was born, I suffer, or when she was being born, I suffer what they call a uterine rupture. I had 3 holes in my uterus, and I had to have extensive surgery to fix that. Because of that, I went into depression again, and mostly because it was the realization that my uterus was pretty damaged and would probably not be good for any more babies. So although I was happy to have my daughter, it was sad for me because that meant also that I could probably not have kids anymore, or it will be extremely dangerous, and I just don't want to go through that again, and having that issue just made it worse. I gained so much weight while I was pregnant and after my pregnancy. After my daughter was born, I was at 260, 268 or something like that. And then the 3 weeks ago, I was actually at 326.8. That was the highest I weighed. And then I took 2 days to see if I could control my eating, and then I started my journey, and I was at 25.7. So it's been pretty hard. I really, really want to do this, not just for me, but for my daughter. Being a bigger person and loving myself, it's hard. You just don't feel pretty. And although they tell you, oh, you should love yourself, but if you don't love yourself because you don't feel healthy or you don't feel attractive, and it's not even about being attractive, it's just being, doing the day-to-day things that, make you function as a person, like going to work and not feel like, you're going to end up like somebody in a home because, you're having a hard time tying your own shoe, or, just seeing people that struggle with even more weight than you do, and like it's like, oh, I can end up like them. Like working in the hospital opened my eyes to a lot of things that weight can do to you, and it's not about being pretty or not, but it is about what your quality of life will be in a few years. Yeah, like right now I'm young, I can probably handle 300 pounds, but not if you're 60. It's a total different, like even your body does not look the same if you're young and 300 pounds, or if you're 60 and 300 pounds. Looks completely different. And it's sad to see people like that, and I don't want to end up like that myself. And most, like, I don't want to show my daughter or teach her bad habits that I have in my life. So that's a little bit about me. I hope you follow me through this journey and encourage me and check on me to make sure that I'm still, taking care of myself and trying to conquer this addiction that is food, and trying to settle my emotions and my, compulsive eating when I'm having like a rough day. It's hard to get back in track after having like one of these episodes, I guess you would call it. But I want to stay strong, and I want to be able to do this. Thank you for watching, and I hope that I get to follow some of you as well, and we can share experiences and like do this together. And that is me, and I'll see you next time.